We will wait for 2-3 more minutes, then we will start off.
Okay, ma'am.
In the meantime, is this screen visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, good morning to everyone. So, my name is Bias, and I will be teaching you this subject like the data structure and algorithm, this subject to you. So this will be a combined class for all the electrical and the electronics students. So I will be sharing the white screen where I will be writing down whatever is necessary, just like the whiteboard which we or the blackboard which we used to take help of in our normal classes. So if you have any query, you all can always ask me in the class only, or you can write in the chat box. From there, I will take your question and answer it to you. As of the class, this data structure subject, you people only have the theory part in your syllabus. The practical classes or the practical part is not included in your syllabus. So what I will do is I will try to finish up the theory classes as soon as possible, so that we will be able to show or do a few programs as well, so that you people find it more interesting. And this data structure syllabus, it consists of around 5 to 6 modules. So module by module I will finish, and after finishing each module I will take a small quiz, so that you yourself will be able to understand that whether you are being able to understand it properly or not. And that's it. So let us begin with today's class. And in the meantime, I have shared the attendance QR code in your WhatsApp group as well. Since today is the first class, I have shared it through WhatsApp so that every one of you can mark your attendance. But for the next classes, I will be sharing it in my class only. Like in my slot, I will be sharing it at a point of time. Okay, so let us begin with today's class. So the first chapter or the first module, it consists of the introductory part of the data structure. And about this class, do not pressurize your brain much. Okay, whatever I am saying, you just go on listening, and whatever I am writing, you just go on seeing. This video lectures, I will record it and I will upload it in the YouTube channel. From there, I will give you the link also, so that in the later stage you can also refer to this. Okay, so like we have already learned the basics of the C programming in the previous classes. We have already learned that. So, and we now, since you have learned the C programs, so you know how to write, debug, and run simple C programs. So when we design programs, or when our aim is to design good programs, so what are the characteristics which we look when we say that I want to design a good program, I want to run a good program? So what are the characteristics? Anyone?
पिछले बार नहीं बराबर नहीं बदला है।
Sorry, Gulam, your voice broke. Anyone of you, can anyone say, like when we
Ma'am,
say,
it's
bolo.
Ma'am, it should occupy less space. It should take less time to run.
राइट तो पहले ही स्पेस हम लोग नहीं देखते हैं, पहले बस करना क्या चाहते हैं. फर्स्ट व्हेन वी राइट अ प्रोग्राम व्हाट इज आवर मोटो, स्पेस टाइम पहले हम देख नहीं पाते. फर्स्ट दिन में ही when you were writing one C program, were you really able to see how much space it was occupying, how much time it was occupying? No, na, we don't see that at the first instance. So what do we see at the first instance? We see that our program runs correctly, right? And it should be easy to understand, it should be easy to read. Similarly, when an error occurs, it should be easy to debug as well. Okay, so these are the things which we see like when we aim at writing a good program. And one thing also, that if it should be a good program in such a way that later on the modification is easier. So suppose if I am creating a code and in the later stage, suppose I leave this organization and someone else joins in my position, so he or she can start off from where I have left. So the code should be easy to understand, easily readable, easy to modify. So these are the characteristics which we see. So the a program should undoubtedly give correct result, but along with it, it should also run efficiently. Now this is where the thing which you just said comes into play. That is, it should run efficiently. That is, a program is said to be efficient when it executes in minimum time and with minimum memory space. So the key is it should be with minimum time and minimum memory space. Okay, I have not sat with my mobile. So can anyone just please click the picture of the number of participant and just send it to me? Please, anyone, at least the front page where the number of participants is listed. Please, anyone, please click the picture and send it to my WhatsApp number. Okay. Okay. So we when this in order to write efficient programs, we need to apply certain data management concepts. So when we say that our program should run in minimum time and it should take minimum memory space, so for this we need to apply certain data management, right? Now the concept of this data management is a very complex task, because it includes activities like it includes data collection, it includes data collection, then it includes organization of this data, like organization in appropriate structures, and then it includes developing and maintaining routines for quality
मैम आवाज
assurance.
क्लियर नहीं है.
Still the voice is not clear. Is the voice clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when we say about like data management, we mean like the data collection, organization, quality assurance. So lot of these things comes when we say about the word data management. Now data structure, which is our subject, this data structure is a crucial part of this data management. Okay, so what is our data structure? Now a
मैम
data,
आवाज कट रहा है आपका.
हाँ बोलो.
Ma'am, you are not clearly audible.
My voice is breaking.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now is it okay?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So this data structure, what I have just said.
मैम
Okay, wait, let me change to a different network then. Is my voice clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So up to now we have studied about that what data management is all about. Now inside this data management, this data structure is a very crucial part, because this data structure is basically what? It is a group of data elements that we put together under one name. And so what it is basically a group of data elements that we put together under one name, which in a way it defines a particular way, where a particular way is defined for storing and organizing the data in a computer. So when we group data elements and we put it together under one name, and we store it and we organize it in a particular way in our computer, so that we can use it efficiently, that is with respect to time, with respect to memory space, that entire management of our data is known as data structure. So you, in the books you must have seen data structure using C. So data structure is not a language. First of all, C is a language, C++ is a language, Java is a language, but data structure is not a language. Data structure can be implemented using C, it can be implemented using C++, so anything it can be. If we use C, we implement it in procedural way. If we use object oriented way, we use that. But data structure, remember this, it is not a language, it is a way how we store and organize data. Okay. So the next thing is like this data structure concept, it is used in almost every program or every software system which we talk about. So it is applied in wider areas, like it can be applied in DBMS, it is applied in operating system, it is applied in graphics, it is applied in simulation. Like you people are from EC electrical background, you people will know when you have done practicals on like basic electronics and so on. So it may happen you have to input some data. So those data, when you input it to the online simulation link, those data goes in the form of array. So this is where again data structure is linked. So different areas are there where the concept of data structure is linked. Okay. Now this specific data structures, they are essential ingredients. Sorry, let me just cancel it. Okay. These specific data structures, they are essential ingredients from many efficient algorithms, because they enable the programmers to manage this huge amount of data very easily and very efficiently. So always remember this, that the primary goal of any program or any software is not to perform the calculations or operations. Okay. So its primary goal is to store and to get the information as fast as possible using as much less amount of memory space. Okay. So when we look today in today's life, so today's life, these computer programmers, they do not write programs just to solve a problem, but they write efficient programs. So for this, they first do what? They first analyze the problem in order to determine the performance goals that need to be achieved. Then maybe they think of some appropriate data structure in order to solve that particular problem. So like this, they come up with different steps in order to understand which data structure is suitable. So using that data structure, how can we apply that and we can do our programming and all. Okay. So this was the main concept about the definition of data structure. Now in our C language, the C language, it supports a variety of data structures. Now when I will go to the next point, that is the data structure point, elementary like data structures. Now you will can relate to what you have learned in C. Now, as we have just okay, up to this point, is there anything someone wants to ask also? Okay. So, when we talk about data structure, we mean that these are the building blocks of a program. Okay. So, if I build a program with a improper data structure, so it may not work as I have expected it. So, choosing a good data structure for my program is very essential. Now, when I talk about the term data in this data structure, it means a value or a set of values. Data means that only. So when I say a value or a set of value, so it specifies that the value of a variable or the value of a constant. That is, suppose marks of students, name of an employee, address of a customer. Like this, it will specify. So different data items are there. So collection of data items we refer to as record. Collection of data items we refer to as record, and this collection of related records, collection of related records we refer to as file. Now, what is an example of a record? Suppose I am taking the name and all the details of student in my class. So I will take the name, the address, the course he or she is registered to, the marks that he has got. So each of these value is an independent data item. So this collection of data items, when we group together for one student, we refer to is as record of a student or record of an individual student. Now, for example, there are 60 students in my class, then there are 60 records for this batch. Then this total, all these related 60 records are stored in one file. Now that is known as the file of suppose 2019-23 batch. So we have file of employees working in organization. We can have a file of the customers of a company. We can have a file of suppliers to a company. So like this we can have. So is the concept of this data record and file clear, or anyone have any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now, since the word data has been now explained, we will now get into the classification of this data. So when we categorize this data structure, we categorize into two basic things, that is two basic classes. One is the primitive class and another is the non-primitive class. If you people are thinking that suppose I am going a bit fast, if people tell me, if you are thinking that I am going a bit slow, then also you tell me, because since I am not being able to see your faces, I am not being able to understand whether you are getting the concept or not. So if any query is there, you can always reach out to me. My mobile is always on 24/7, so always feel free to reach out to me. Okay. So when we talk about this data structure is generally categorized into two classes. One is the primitive data structure and another is the non-primitive data structure. Now this primitive data structure, these are the fundamental data types.
Ma'am,
Bolo.
I think data structures are three types: primitive, non-primitive, and third is I can't remember at this time, but I think there are three types.
Linear, non-linear, you are referring to this?
Um, exactly, I'm not getting that, but somewhere I read it. Data structures are three types: primitive, non-primitive, and one other type. So
basic categorization, there are two types only, primitive and non-primitive. And under non-primitive, we have linear and non-linear parts. So not an issue. The book which I am referring to, Oxford publication, and there is another book which I refer to. There only two types have been said. So if you get there any three types, so you kindly share it with me. Not an issue. Okay, because the books which I have referred to,
Okay, ma'am.
I have seen two types only written in both the books.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Okay, you just like find it once and you send it to me. Okay.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
So this primitive, like these are the fundamental data types which are supported by a programming language. So can anyone say the basic data types which you have learnt in your C language? Anyone? Data types I am talking about. The basic data types which you have learnt in your C language.
Ma'am, int, float, double, long,
Right.
char,
Very nice.
integer.
Very nice. So this int, float, double, char, these are these fundamental data types which we have already studied. Now, when we talk about this non-primitive data type, these are the data types that are created using this int or using this primitive data types. Now, suppose you have studied about array, right? In your C program, you have studied about array. How did you define array? Suppose if it was an array of integers, you defined this as int, then array name, then like this you defined your elements. Then if it was an array of decimal numbers, so suppose you defined it as float or double, then array name, so then like this you have written all this. So as you can see, when you defined this array, you used this primitive data type only in order to create this array. And here you just gave the array name. And here you form and you used the basic syntax which is used for building any array. So these non-primitive data structures are those data structures which are created using these primitive data structures. And then, for example, the different non-primitives are arrays. Then you people have studied about stack. Then you people have
List link,
like list linked nahi beta, linked list.
link list, complex number.
Right, linked list, then trees, graphs. So all these are made or built using this concept only. So these all things are non-primitive data structures. Fine. Now under these non-primitive data structures, two another sections are there. That is linear and non-linear. So till now, what are the terms that I said under non-primitive? You must have guessed what is that example of linear data structure,
Array,
right? Another one,
stack, stack,
linked list. Then
linked
there is
list,
stack. Then there is queue. So all these data are either stored always sequentially, like they are traversed sequentially, they are searched sequentially, they are stored sequentially, one after the other. So always there will be a relationship between the front and the back, like this it goes on. So these all falls under the category of linear data structure. And when we talk about this non-linear data structure, the example of any non-linear data structure you people say,
tree,
right?
tree graph,
Right. This tree graphs, this falls under the example of nonlinear structure. Why? Because they are not stored in sequential order, right? So that relationship is not maintained. It may happen that out of the 5 nodes in my tree or in my graph, node 1 and 2 is related and there is no other connection with node 1 to any other node. Then again, maybe node 2 and 4 is linked, or with 3, node 1 is linked. But it is not necessary that with every node there will be a relation to the other nodes. No. So when we come to this type of structures in our life, we refer that these are non-linear ones, because directly using one formula we cannot define that what relationship it holds. Okay. Now one by one we will go to these different types. So first is why I am like revising a bit in this first class, because in the on the next class onwards these concepts we will need in order to solve different sums. Okay. So when we mean array, we mean what? We mean that it is a collection of similar data elements. It will have same data type. So data elements must be similar. Data type must be same, and elements are always stored in consecutive memory locations. So these are the basic info that we need to remember for any array. And we always refer any array by index. We talk about index. So suppose this is one example of my array. It means that the name of my array is marks, and the elements in my array, all the elements will be of type integer, and the maximum number of elements that I can store in the array is 10. So I can at most store 10 number of integer elements in my array named marks. So this is the way how we define an array. So where is this concept used? This concept is used, okay, is as everyone able to like mark your attendance?
No,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
व्हाट्सएप में दिए हैं, देखो वहां से मार्क कर दो अटेंडेंस.
Yes, but I can't. I try, but it's not
Not
done.
showing error. Okay, fine. You do one thing. You then write your name in the chat box. From the chat box, I will give your attendance. The others who are able to do,
Okay, ma'am.
they have done. Not an issue. So this concept, this array of concept is used when we want to store large amount of similar data types. But there is a disadvantage. What is this disadvantage? The first disadvantage of any array is this of fixed size. That is, you at the runtime cannot change the size of an array. If you have already defined your size to be of 10, to be of 20 or 30, at the runtime, after 30 number of elements, you cannot input, right? So first disadvantage of array is fixed size problem. Next is data is always stored in contiguous memory locations, that is consecutive memory locations. And this consecutive memory location always may not be available. So at that time data storing will be a problem. It will give me garbage value. And also, suppose I have an array like this, and I have stored some elements like A, B, C, D. I have stored some elements. Suppose I want to insert an element E in this location, then I will have to I will have to shift D to this location, then I will have to shift C to this location, then this location will be vacant, and then I will push my E. So this insertion and deletion, it always means shifting of arrays, right? So this insertion and deletion, it means shifting of arrays, which is also time consuming process, and it's a very hectic process as well. Okay. So this was the concept about array. Now we will move on to the concept about linked list. Okay. The problem with array, that problem was somehow solved in linked list. First is it is a very flexible one. Why is it flexible? Because linked list is itself a dynamic approach. It is a dynamic approach where the elements, they form the sequential list. So when I say that it is a dynamic approach, so in contrast to the static arrays with which we were dealing, the programmer need to worry about how many elements will be stored, because this feature, it enables us, the programmers, to write very good programs, because we do not need to worry about its size, but the nodes will be stored and accessed sequentially. That is same with the concept of array, but this feature was a good thing which was included in linked list. So in linked list, what happened is each node is allocated a space as it is added to the list. So suppose I have a linked list like this, where I have input 2. Then suppose I am inserting 3. Then suppose I have a number 5. So like this, suppose I'm inserting, right? So when I am doing that, so these, in linked list, each node is allocated space when and which it is added to the list. So every node in the list now, it will point to the next node in my list. So like this it will goes on. So every node, it consists of two types of data. Okay. The first, it will have the value of the data corresponding to that node. The second, it will have a pointer or a link to the next node, which will point to the next node. So for this node A, first cell, it contains the value of node A, and the next cell contains the address after which this will point to. For this node also, one cell is for the value, and next cell, it will contain a link that after this node where my next node is leading to. So each and every node, it will have two sets of data, one for value, another for pointer. And for this null value, I have shown is as grounded. In some books, you may see like this also, right? So it shows that after this node 5, there are no more nodes. That is, this null value, it will indicate the end of my linked list. End of my list. Okay. So this was all about today's class. So up to this, anyone had any query, like the introductory part about data structure, the concept of data, and this concept about array and linked list? Anyone had any query?
Ma'am, can you please repeat the linked list?
Linked list, these two types of data concept.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So when we have a linked list, the programming part of linked list is we write the programs using pointers. Okay. And this is a diagrammatic representation which I am giving, that whenever I have a linked list, my every node is bisected into two parts. One section of my node will contain the value of my node, that is supposed to, and another section is there which will point that after this node, what is my next node, or where is my next node situated. Then suppose this node contains the value of 6, and here I will have a pointer which will again point to the next node. That is where my next node is there. So it may happen that suppose there are two more links, and after this node, this node is pointing to this node. It may happen. Whatever it is, The concept of node is it is divided into two sections. One will hold the value and the next will hold the address of the next node. That is, it will indicate after this node where my cursor will go to. That is, what is the next node which is after this node. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So less than 1 minute is remaining, and in the chat box I have got the names Tanay Bhaskar and Abhishek Bharti. I will accordingly give your like attendance. Okay. So thank you so much for attending today's class. Goodbye. Okay. So we will meet in the next class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.